Imagine standing at the airport with nothing but your passport and a dream. No visa interviews, no bank statement gymnastics, no waiting months for a stamped approval from an embassy that may never reply. Now imagine that destination is Canada, the same Canada that once made even the most qualified African professionals beg for a chance. What if that gatekeeping is starting to break? In 2025, quiet diplomatic whispers have started turning into thunder. Canada may be preparing a game-changing visa policy that allows travelers from select African nations to enter without a visa. Not because Canada has suddenly become generous, but because Africa, young, growing, and resource-rich, is no longer something to pity. It's something the world must partner with. So why now? Which countries? And what does this mean for the future of African migration and global diplomacy? In this video, let's find out. For decades, the Canadian visa process stood as a fortress. Long forms, hidden rejection criteria, and consulates that treated African applications with suspicion. Even highly educated professionals were denied entry, while tourists from Europe walked through without question. But something has changed. Canada now faces a demographic crisis, an aging population, a shrinking labor force, and an urgent need for young, skilled migrants. And where is the world's youngest population? Africa. Suddenly that fortress isn't a gate, it's a door, and it's about to open. However, Canada isn't doing this out of goodwill. This is a strategy. They have watched China build African infrastructure, seen Russia offer weapons and wheat, and heard the rising voices of Pan-Africanists demanding trade, not aid. If Canada doesn't adapt, it gets left behind. And so begins a diplomatic move. Reduce visa restrictions, deepen ties, and offer partnership before African nations close the door entirely to former colonizers and their allies. So, visa-free access isn't a gift. It's an investment. A calculated shift to build influence in a continent that will define the 21st century. Now, let's talk specifics. Based on governance, diplomacy, education, and migration patterns, these 10 African nations are the most likely to receive visa waivers from Canada in 2025. Number 10. Morocco. Starting in 2025, Moroccan citizens will no longer need a visa to enter Canada. This decision wasn't random. It was years in the making. Morocco has long stood out on the African continent for its diplomatic discipline, cultural diplomacy, and francophone alignment. With thousands of Moroccan students already thriving in Quebec's universities and Moroccan-Canadian businesses growing in Toronto and Montreal, the move feels less like a new beginning and more like an overdue recognition. Morocco's visa overstay rate is among the lowest of all African countries. Its citizens follow immigration laws, contribute to communities, and bring tangible skills. Whether it's in engineering, finance, or medicine, Canada sees Morocco as a partner, not a burden. This visa-free access now opens the door for even stronger bilateral trade, research partnerships, and youth exchange programs. It's also a signal to other North African nations. Align your education, governance, and migration systems, and the doors may open for you too. For Morocco, 2025 marks a new era, not one of chasing permission, but one of mutual recognition and mobility. Number 9. Mauritius. As of 2025, Mauritian passport holders can enter Canada without a visa, further solidifying Mauritius's status as a global mobility powerhouse. This isn't just about tourism, it's about trust. Mauritius has spent decades building one of Africa's most respected democracies and robust economies. With thriving sectors in banking, insurance, ICT, and education, the country has proven that good governance is good diplomacy. For Canada, Mauritius isn't just a tropical getaway. It's a financial ally, a skills exporter, and a gateway to African capital markets. Mauritian professionals already engage with Canadian firms through fintech, compliance, and offshore finance. The visa waiver now allows for faster meetings, stronger joint ventures, and academic exchange. Mauritius also shares deep values with Canada, like bilingualism, legal discipline, and respect for international norms. Therefore, the removal of visa barriers is a win-win. It enables smoother people-to-people contact while reinforcing Mauritius's position as a model African state. In a world shifting from aid to investment, Mauritius just got a fast pass. Number 8. Seychelles. Seychellois citizens will now enjoy visa-free access to Canada as of 2025, making this Indian Ocean archipelago one of the most powerful African passports on the global stage. But why Seychelles? The answer lies in its track record. Seychelles has one of the highest Human Development Index scores in Africa, near universal literacy, and near zero visa violations globally. Its citizens travel widely, stay legally, and bring high tourism value without overburdening host countries. Canada sees in Seychelles a trustworthy, mobile, and elite traveler base, not just in tourism, but in climate diplomacy, marine science, and education. This visa waiver acknowledges Seychelles' long-standing participation in global environmental governance, especially around blue economy initiatives, which Canada is increasingly investing in. By allowing visa-free entry, Canada is saying, "We trust your people, your institutions, and your values." This is more than mobility. It's respect. Number 7. Botswana. As of 2025, Botswana joins the elite list of African countries whose citizens will no longer need a visa to enter Canada. And this decision wasn't made based on population size or geography. It was based on performance. Botswana is the rare African country that has delivered consistent democratic governance, low corruption, and sound legal institutions for over 5 decades. It is often ranked as Africa's least corrupt country, and its justice system is respected internationally. Canada knows this. In fact, Canadian companies have long invested in Botswana's mining sector, particularly in diamonds and precious minerals. Now, with the visa barriers removed, investors, geologists, environmental specialists, and educational experts from Botswana can collaborate more freely with Canadian firms and institutions. English is widely spoken, education levels are rising, and Botswana's youth are eager to plug into global opportunities, not just to leave, but to return with skills. The visa-free access makes sense. It's not a handout, it's a handshake between equals. Number 6. Ghana. Ghana has already been walking toward this moment. Now in 2025, Canada is expected to waive visas for Ghanaian travelers, marking a bold new chapter in North-South mobility. But why Ghana? Because it has emerged as West Africa's innovation hub. With its booming fintech sector, expanding digital infrastructure, and startups leading in health tech, education, and mobile banking, Ghana isn't sending people abroad to escape. It's sending them to connect and grow. Canada, for its part, has quietly but steadily built strong ties with Ghana. Thousands of Ghanaians live, work, and study in Canada, particularly in Toronto, Ottawa, and Calgary. These diasporic bridges create trust, remittances, and circular migration. The Ghanaian government has also worked to modernize its passport system, lower visa overstay rates, and engage in high-level diplomacy with Canadian officials. Ottawa has already made visa processing easier for Ghanaians in recent years, and full visa-free travel was always the next step. It's here now, and it opens the door to even deeper ties in tech collaboration, climate partnerships, and academic exchange. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on the latest news stories on geopolitics, economics, and current affairs impacting your lives. Number 5. Senegal. For years, Senegalese students and professionals have flowed into Quebec's universities, hospitals, and cultural institutions. Now, in 2025, Senegalese citizens are expected to be eligible for visa-free entry into Canada, finally formalizing a partnership that was already alive in spirit. Senegal stands as one of West Africa's most stable democracies, with a proud record of civic participation, judicial independence, and regional diplomacy. But what makes it especially valuable to Canada is its French-speaking, highly educated youth population. Since Canada is experiencing a shortage of bilingual healthcare workers, STEM professionals, and francophone educators, particularly outside Quebec, Senegal offers all three. From Dakar to St. Louis, Canada sees a generation of skilled mobile talent ready to fill gaps and build new bridges. Moreover, Canada and Senegal have collaborated on UN peacekeeping, Francophonie diplomacy, and environmental protection. This visa waiver isn't just about travel. It's about affirming Senegal's place as a partner in shaping the global Francophone future. Canada is saying, we don't just want your students. We want your ideas, your professionals, your dreams. No paperwork needed. Number 4. Kenya. Kenya's presence on this list isn't a surprise. It's a recognition long overdue. As of 2025, Canada is set to offer visa-free access to Kenyan citizens, a move driven by hard data, not charity. Kenya's capital, Nairobi, has earned its title as Africa's Silicon Savannah, a digital ecosystem thriving with fintech innovators, health tech startups, and software engineers, solving real-world problems with African logic and global ambition. Canadian companies have been increasing their tech outsourcing to Kenya, leveraging its large English-speaking workforce and competitive costs. In return, Kenyan developers, coders, and engineers are hungry to build partnerships, access global markets, and gain exposure. But this isn't just about tech. Kenya also sends thousands of nurses, caregivers, and skilled tradespeople abroad every year, many of whom are already entering the Canadian labor market through skilled visa channels. Removing the visa requirement only accelerates this pipeline. More importantly, it sends a signal. Canada doesn't just want Kenya's labor. It values its brainpower and innovation. This isn't immigration. It's an investment in mobility. Number 3. South Africa. Despite economic turbulence and political shifts, South Africa remains Africa's second-largest economy, and its role on the continent cannot be ignored. Canada understands this, and that's why in 2025, visa-free travel is on the table. South Africa offers legal systems modeled on Western constitutional frameworks, universities ranked among the world's best, and a middle class highly accustomed to global travel. In fact, Canadian universities already enroll a significant number of South African students, particularly in STEM, business, and medicine. But more than that, South Africa is a gateway country. It sits at the intersection of regional diplomacy, finance, mining, and multilateral governance in Africa. For Canada, easing travel restrictions for South African citizens is not just about people. It's about politics and positioning. With a strong infrastructure base, high literacy, and a significant professional diaspora, South Africans integrate quickly, contribute meaningfully, and often create lasting bilateral networks. Canada is ready to make it easier for them to arrive. The question is, how many will return, with ideas strong enough to fix the systems they left behind? Number 2. Tunisia. Tunisia may not dominate headlines like some of Africa's larger powers, but in strategic circles it's quietly emerging as one of the continent's most valuable nodes for digital transformation and cross-continental diplomacy. Positioned at the crossroads of Africa and Europe, Tunisia offers geographic proximity, cultural overlap, and linguistic compatibility with both regions. For Canada, particularly francophone provinces like Quebec, New Brunswick, and parts of Ontario, This makes Tunisia a natural partner. But the real magnet is Tunisia's human capital. Nearly 60% of Tunisia's population is under 30. The country produces thousands of software engineers, data analysts, cybersecurity experts, and medical professionals each year through a robust higher education system that has managed to survive political shifts. Tunisia's tech hubs, like the El Ghazala Technopark in Ariana, have earned international praise for cultivating export-ready digital talent, especially in AI development, fintech, and app-based services. Therefore, Canada's Ministry of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship sees this as a high-opportunity match. What Canada lacks in population growth, Tunisia provides in youth and expertise. And with a shared French linguistic base, Tunisian professionals can integrate quickly, particularly in the healthcare and education sectors, where bilingual workers are in high demand. Moreover, Tunisia's post-Arab Spring transition, while bumpy, has shown strong institutional resilience. Its democratic reforms, judicial independence, and economic liberalization efforts, such as partnerships with the EU and IMF, have signaled to global partners that Tunisia may be small, but it's serious. Importantly, Canada knows that Tunisians don't pose an overstay threat. Migration patterns show that Tunisian travelers tend to be goal-oriented, seeking temporary work, international degrees, or entrepreneurship opportunities, rather than indefinite relocation. A 2025 visa waiver would serve both strategic and economic goals, strengthen Canada's talent pipeline, deepen francophone cooperation, and reaffirm that African countries like Tunisia are not just recipients of policy, but creators of mutual value. Number 1. Cape Verde. Cape Verde is the kind of country that rarely makes international news, but when it does, it's almost always for the right reasons. Situated in the central Atlantic, this island nation of just over 500,000 people has built a global reputation that punches well above its weight. In governance, in transparency, in mobility. And now, Canada is paying attention. Cape Verde's inclusion in the 2025 visa waiver list isn't driven by economic scale or migration volume. It's driven by discipline, consistency, and trustworthiness. This is a country that has had peaceful democratic transitions since the 1990s, maintains one of the lowest corruption levels in Africa, and has robust ties to Europe, the US, and Lusophone Portuguese-speaking networks. Its governance scores regularly top regional rankings, and it maintains visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to over 65 countries, including much of the European Union and South America. Therefore, Canada sees Cape Verde not as a mass migration source, but as a model for selective, high-compliance travel. Cape Verdean citizens have a remarkable record of returning home after study or seasonal work abroad. They are viewed globally as low-risk travelers, with minimal incidents of asylum abuse, visa overstays, or undocumented labor migration. But there's another dimension here. Cape Verde's openness to clean energy investment, marine conservation, and tech-based tourism offers unique collaborative opportunities for Canadian innovation sectors. With climate resilience becoming a core diplomatic and development priority, Cape Verde is increasingly positioned as a testbed for green technology pilots, something Canada wants to be part of. Therefore, by lifting visa requirements for Cape Verdeans, Canada is doing more than enabling tourism or short-term work visits. It's rewarding governance excellence, inspiring other small nations, and inviting deeper collaboration on sustainability, education, and innovation. You see, at face value, Canada's decision to waive visa requirements for select African countries looks like a generous gesture toward openness, partnership, and mobility. But look deeper. This isn't charity. It's geostrategic competition, and Africa is the prize. In the 20th century, borders were tools of defense. In the 21st century, they're tools of recruitment. And the West is starting to realize it's falling behind. China is everywhere in Africa, building infrastructure, funding mega-projects, and educating future African engineers in Beijing. Russia is sending grain, weapons, and Wagner mercenaries. Turkey is rebuilding mosques, markets, and military academies. These aren't random acts of diplomacy. They are deliberate investments in influence. However, Canada has no Belt and Road. It doesn't sell missiles. But what it can offer, what it must offer, is mobility. And more importantly, dignity. Visa-free travel is how Canada recruits. Before African talent gets snapped up by China's universities, Turkey's scholarships, or Russia's training schools. It's also how it signals, "We want you before BRICS offers you better." This is not just a new visa policy. It's a soft power arms race. And for the first time in modern history, Africa is the one being courted. We are no longer in the age of passive partnerships. Africa in 2025 is no longer the Africa of 1995, sitting at the edge of global summits waiting for handouts. The new generation of African leadership, from Captain Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso to Assimi Goïta in Mali, is turning the tables entirely. Africa is no longer the world's victim. It's becoming the world's negotiator. Why? Because demographics and resources don't lie. By 2050, 1 in every 4 people on Earth will be African. The continent holds over 60% of the world's uncultivated arable land. It controls vast lithium, cobalt, bauxite, and rare earth mineral reserves, the very building blocks of the green transition that Western countries are banking their futures on. And as African countries begin nationalizing industries, canceling unfair contracts, and prioritizing internal development over foreign appeasement, global players are scrambling to adjust their tone. Canada's policy shift toward visa-free travel reflects this reality. It's not just outreach. It's an adaptation. Where once African passports were dismissed as liabilities, they are now being viewed as diplomatic leverage. And African leaders, especially in countries like Ghana, Botswana, Kenya, and Senegal, are beginning to ask louder, more strategic questions. What are we getting in return? How do we ensure our youth are not exploited, but elevated? What do you think? Should African countries reciprocate and review entry policies for Canadian citizens too? How can Africans use this policy shift to their advantage without losing their own sovereignty? In the comments section below, share your thoughts on which African country you think Canada should prioritize next and why. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We bring the latest news stories on geopolitics, economics, changing world order, and current affairs. Things you need to stay informed. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.